right. Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. It looks like I am live, hopefully where I'm supposed to be. Hope you've all had a wonderful week. It is the very last day of school in my children's district, and so I'm having a whole big case of the I don't wannas. I didn't want to pick them up from school. I didn't want to do anything. So, yeah, whatever. Summer is here. So, hey, Mom, hopefully there's sound tonight. I fiddled around and tried to make sure everything was working. So, glad you're here. Let's see. I will put up several different links at the end of this video that you might want to check out. So, there's a class on June 6th here at my house. Hey, Janie, I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you can hear me. So June 6th, we'll make 3 projects classes free with a $25 order in my online store, or it's $15 cash. Then I also have a class to go that will close on the 14th of June, and that features the Bottled Happiness bundle. So it's a punch and a stamp set. And the class is like $30, I think. I can't remember exactly because, I haven't looked at it today. And let's see what else. You get paper and ribbon and embellishments, and then all of the pre-cut cardstock to make 8 cards. So 4 different designs, 8 cards. So make sure you don't miss that. And then this is month 2 in my Facebook Live class series. And so it starts over. So if you would like to receive cards from tonight and the next 2 Thursdays, the pre-cut cardstock and everything that you need to make the cards, then make sure that you put in an order, and I'll post that host code as well. And then I'm still working on migrating to my new email platform. So if you haven't already, make sure that you go and sign up for that. And just some other miscellaneous stuff. That's basically it. So I'm going to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera and show you, not flip the camera, but switch the camera. There we go. All right. So I have 3 projects like the last couple of weeks that use the same technique but come out completely differently. So for these 2 cards, I used the butterflies and flowers layering masks that are actually just went on the retiring and discounted list in the website. So if you like what we do tonight, make sure you go grab these because they are while supplies last. This one I was looking for a way to do a masculine card. Hey, Aunt Pat, thanks for being here. And so I pulled out an old mask that I don't even know when we sold it. It's somehow escaped my retiring purges. But anyway, this one is the same concept, but just different actual mask product. So this butterflies and flowers set comes with several different masks. So you can see this, and then you can do, that doesn't show very well, that, do different things to add flowers and leaves. And then the rest of them are just your typical masks. So you just use them and get these pretty patterns. So thank you all for sharing. I'm glad that reminds me that if you do share these videos and then come back and comment shared in this post, then I enter you for a drawing. And yeah, you should definitely check because they're pretty fun. It's a little bit more detailed than some of the other masks, the layering process, but I think it's awesome. So you definitely want to get them, or you can wait and that might be nice and share. So anyway, we will get started. This is the one that I wanted to show you today. So, back to what I was saying. Please like and share the videos because that really does help with Facebook algorithms and all of that good stuff. And I could not tell who had shared last week except for Mom and Jamie. So I'm just going to send each of you a handmade card as a thank you. All right, so this is the one that we're doing, and I'm just going to set that off to the side. Let's see what I did here. Okay, I didn't do anything to decorate the inside of the card, so we'll just tuck that in and add it later. This is, so the card base is Flirty Flamingo, and then this is Starry Sky, which is one of our new in colors, and I think it is such a pretty color. The more I use it, the more I love it. And I did go ahead and dry emboss it with the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. And so those 3D folders, you get a whole lot more dimension than the regular folders. And so I just love this one. I use it all the time. So that I'm just going to adhere directly to my card base. And because there is a little bit more texture, I use a little bit more glue. So we will stick this on here. Oh, apparently I didn't cut it the way I thought I cut it. So since I've already slapped glue on there, we are just going to adjust the design just a little bit. All right, so there's that. And then we will go ahead and adhere the card liner as well. And it has gotten to where I add a card liner on all but white card bases because I just think it looks a little more polished, and I know for a fact that people can read black ink on white cardstock, whereas, oh my gosh, I did it on this one too. Well, you guys are just getting to see all the fun mess ups. Okay, anyway, it just, you know, if you write on pink cardstock or darker cardstock, it could be just a little bit difficult to read, so I just always put a white liner. All right, so now we're getting to the actual artistic part here. So what I'm going to do is lay my mask kind of where I want it on. This is just a stitched rectangle. And I am going to grab some Post-it tape to secure it on the back side. And then I'm going to cover up all of the areas where mishaps might occur with full-size Post-it notes. So I want to make absolutely sure that I don't accidentally put this flower on the piece that I'm working on. Oh, geez. So we will do that, and then down here, I'm just gonna cover that, and here. So now the only place that I can get ink is where I actually want ink. So I'm going to bring in my Flirty Flamingo ink pad, and all of my blender brushes are just tagged with the color family. So this is pinks. So what I do is just kind of make sure it's pretty clean before I go trying to pick up my ink. And that way I'm not mixing really bright pink and really pale pink, or, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm just rubbing this on here, pick up a little bit of ink, and then now there's a lot concentrated on the very tips of those bristles. So I am, again, just going to clear that off just a touch. And now I'm going to come over here and in a circular motion, just add ink to my cardstock. And you can see the more you do, the stronger the color becomes. And I think that that's really probably going to suffice, especially since I'm going to add a different color on top. So I will put this one away. And now we're going to change which part of the mask we're using. So I'm going to peel off my Post-its, and I can actually usually get 2 or 3 uses out of a single note. So as you can see, we've got a very beautiful single layered butterfly. And so I am just going to line up the detailed part of this mask. There we go. So same concept, I want to cover all of the spots where accidents might occur. And this is also a case where you want to be aware of what you are picking up on your fingers. So far I haven't. Oh, I am sending stuff flying now. But because I know that I have put some ink onto these Post-its, I just want to make sure that I'm really careful and don't transfer any of that where I don't want it. Okay, so got this situated the way I want. So I'm going to bring in my Starry Sky ink pad and my blues blending brush. So again, clean it, make sure, and you can tell there's a lot more ink left over on this one than there was on the pink. But I think it was probably Starry Sky, so we're just gonna move forward. So again, just a circular motion across my ink pad to pick up. I'm glad that it seems helpful. It's kind of a weird concept, and initially I was like, oh, but that's wasting so many Post-it notes. I don't want to do that. But yeah, no, I have made mistakes, and so it is definitely worth doing this way. All right, so now I have gotten rid of that first bit of ink. So I'm just going to go again in a circular motion over this mask. And the delicate pieces do wiggle just a little bit, but it's not enough, hopefully, that it will matter. So that is as much as I want there. So time for the big reveal. We'll get rid of these. And then with these masks, I just wash them in the sink. Even just rinsing them off usually is sufficient to get it clean. So just so you know what you're looking at doing with the mess that you make. All right, and so there is our beautiful butterfly. And I think this one actually turned out a lot bolder than my original. I just put a lot more ink down in both colors. So I think that turned out really fun. And now what we want to do, I used basic gray ink for that rather than black, just because you still get a really solid image that stands out well, but it's not quite as harsh as if you use the black. So I'm glad you like it. So I am just going to bring in my Charming Sentiments stamp set, and I think I've used this like the last 5 weeks or something. I love this stamp set. And I find that thank you cards are what I send the most, and so that is generally what I make. I know a lot of people use birthday cards more than anything else, and so this card would be very easy to sub whatever sentiment you choose. So just going to ink this up here. And then, oh, it's so hard for me to make sure I'm straight without getting my head in the frame, but I think we're good. And there it is. So now that that is done, and that's really basically it. We just have, let's see, do I need to trim? No, looks okay. We just have the little embellishments that we want to add, and then we have a card ready for us. So even though this technique packs a lot of bang, you really don't work very hard, which is fun. So I'm just going to bring in my Starry Sky twine here, and this comes in a pack of 5 bolts, or I don't know what you would call that. But anyway, 1 in each color. So it's going to get a lot of use, I can already tell, because twine is my favorite to work with anyway, because you just can't mess it up. Tying bows on ribbons is a little more challenging. So I want this wrapped around twice. And we will just bring that down. And I guess I did put the butterfly a little bit lower this time too. So it's changing the look of it just a touch. This is why even if you really think you're directly casing a card, or so cases copy and share everything, it comes out different and every card is unique. And I am splitting that twine. Okay, let's give me a little more length to work with here. So that is one thing that's really cool about this twine though. If you decided that you wanted only the starry sky or only the white, it's very easy to separate and then you have just a solid color, which is fun. So you can also double twine really easily and get kind of a more dramatic bow. So just going to trim that down now. And then here with my stamped image, stamped panel, they are often challenging. And you know, you think you've got it down and then you change which type of ribbon that you're using and it's a totally different process again. So we will just do that. And this dimensional sheet is just about toast. So hopefully I've snipped enough to finish this off here. Just do that. And I'm just popping this one in the middle so that it doesn't look saggy. And there is that. So now since I have changed a little bit, I could potentially want to change where this goes as well. So I think I'm just going to center it up here. Hopefully that's centered and straight. Looks like pretty good. That'll work. All right, and then I just need to find my little brass butterflies here. I am seriously loving, I posted about how I had switched all of my organization, but I love having these sorted and in cases instead of what I had done before was just everything was in a drawer. And so just constantly digging through and thinking, oh, well, I know I used to have that, but maybe I'm out, and not really being able to find exactly what I was wanting to use. So this is great. So I'm just going to bring in my take your pick tool and make sure that I've got enough putty to really pick up these little butterflies. And so the placement on these will be slightly different as well. And I do try typically to use one of the large ones and then two of the littler ones when it's something that has the different sizes. These butterflies are awesome because they are so flat that you don't have to worry about them being an issue with postage or anything, you know, like that. They just really don't change how the card feels in the envelope. So I think that is where we are. Fleur de Flamingo is a terribly fun name. I agree with you, Janie. And it is just beautiful. And the more I use it, the more I love it. So, you know, just figuring out all the different color combinations with it is pretty fun. So that is really all we've got today. So I'm going to bring back in my other two samples. So this one, I actually used two different inks on the same matte mask. So that's how I got that faded look. And then I just made sure that the further up I went, the less ink I was applying. And then this is just a die cut instead of a stamp and ribbon like I had done here. And they're kind of hard to see, but these little white embellishments, dots, whatever you want to call them. I feel like they add something without making it girly. So that was why I went with that. And then apparently I have lost the third card that I had. How is, oh, there it is. Okay, so this one, this mask, I think I had already shown it to you. Maybe? Oh no, I washed it, and so who knows where it ended up. Anyway, it is actually even more complicated than the butterfly when you are just looking at it directly on the piece of plastic. But it literally is just line up, there's a certain feature that you'll see, like the center of the flower. So you line those up, you add a slightly darker color on the more detailed part of it, and then you've got a lot of depth to these flowers. And I think this is a ranunculus, but I'm not really sure. And then I just added some of the, I think that's Gorgeous Grape that I used there. Just to, I've seen like some of these pretty petunias and different things that have multiple colors in the individual flower. So that was how I did that. And then these two sheets, or the cards as well, I used sheets of DSP instead of embossed cardstock. So lots of ways that you can change this up. And then I pulled in a little bit of the DSP to decorate the inside as well. And it's ultimately the very same card with the very same technique and product, but just really different feel based on what you're going for. So I hope that you found that helpful today. I am, like I said, focusing on masking this month. So I have 2 more techniques to show you. And then at the end of this series, if you've placed an order using the host code, that I will again add to the comments here in just a minute, then you'll receive the supplies to make your own version of these. So if you have any questions at all, I hope that you will reach out, let me know. I would love to help you and answer those questions or help you figure out kind of what your style is and what you would like to use to make your own cards. So thank you very much. I hope that you have a wonderful evening and weekend, and make sure you like and share, and I will catch you next week. All right, you guys take care. Bye.